We've had a lot of failures, right? You look back and it's like wave after wave. I'm not winning at this, I'm losing at that. This is not happening for me at this time. What the heck is going on? But when you look back, look at all the wins that you've had. Look at all those traps that you didn't fall for. Look at all those people where you may have entered into, a suggestion, a connection where you were starting to get to know them. But instead of overly investing like you've done in the past, you pulled back out where you didn't invest. And maybe you were invested, but you still called it off. You still stopped it. You still pulled back and you looked at like, no, that is still not good enough for me. You have to look at the wins along the way. There's going to be failures. You're not getting always what you want when you want it. You are getting what you need, which is lessons, repetitive lessons, so you can revise, get better, gain strength, and gain knowledge, so you don't have to experience the pain of the past like you have before. So even though you're not, you started at 0, you're not quite at the 90, you are working your way steadily there. You are getting small wins along the way. They don't feel like that because maybe you haven't gotten to your goal, but all these things happen for a reason in order for you to get there. You have to experience this. And it's hard because you're going to see other people winning, and so you're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, well, maybe what did they do wrong? What did they fast track to get where they're going? Because there's people who I can see that seem to be winning in life and maybe have things that I don't have right now, but they got them through the wrong way. So this is kind of like thinking like, you see people that have all this money and they're spending on all these things and their health sucks. And they're kind of in that mentality of like, you only live once. So their first half of life has been really happy and successful, but is it really? Like, what is it built on the backs of? There's a lot of greedy people out there. There's a lot of people doing something the wrong way where they don't care who they hurt and who they affect. And that's kind of how we got to the way of the world right now as it is. So you are doing things the right way for the right reasons, and it's going to take you longer, and there's going to be more challenges, and there's things that you have to work on underneath the surface that you're not going to see above grade quite yet. And so some of these people rushed into connections. They said, this is good enough for me. I have a wife. She does whatever. I mean, this is good enough. She may not do this, and this, but you know what? She shows up in my Facebook picture. She cooks me some meals. She sometimes does this and she sometimes does that. But like, are you happy? Not really. But I have a wife. You see what I'm saying? Some people are just happy to have something instead of nothing, because that something they settled, and it feels better for them to say that they have something instead of walking alone and really getting the best of what they can get. It's like not settling. This isn't looking for greener grass. This is saying, I know this isn't right. I know this makes me feel anxious. I know there's something off here, and I know there's something off. So sometimes it's hard because this path can get really lonely. It can feel really long, and it can be really frustrating, and it can get boring. It can get a little too quiet, but those are moments you're meant to be doing the things that you don't want to do that are going to help you get to where you want to go. So there are people who, don't really care, and they're doing a job and they're overworking their bodies, and instead of really resting, they're supplementing with alcohol, with drugs, with porn addictions, with sex addictions, with emotional outbursts, with toxic fake service level connections and conversation, and there's no real happiness or fulfillment in there. It's more of a facade. So make sure when you're looking, you know what to look for, because there are a lot of people I've noticed that are very unhappy, and there's a lot of people who are in married connections who claim to be happy but are coming for me, and they'll come for you too. They'll target people who are on their own doing it the right way, and there's something that you're doing that they never had the balls to do, and so they're angry about that. So how happy are those couples that you're looking at? It's not every couple. There are a lot of happy couples doing the right thing. They did it the right way. Maybe they didn't have your childhood trauma. That's not to say this is everyone, but you know who it is when there are people who are coming against you and can't take care of their own business in their own backyard, but they want to target you. Okay, so this is not forever. This is not your problem. You just need to focus on you. But also, when you're focusing on you and fixing your life and making it better, be sure to track the wins and not just be caught up in the failures, because the failures are important. We're revising what isn't working, but like, look at all the work that you have done. You have won. You did different than the rest of a lot of people. You didn't settle. That's a win. It doesn't feel like it because you didn't get the partner that you were hoping to get, but you still won because you walked away. And before, you didn't. So those are wins. You got to count those. You got to count those in the bottom line. They're something, they're important. And it's not just about the fails. It's not about feeling hopeless and helpless all the time. Sometimes it's saying, wow, I did that. I overcame that. That for me, stop comparing. That for me is a win. That is a big deal. That is a change from my behavior. And sometimes it's hard because you're going to, like I said, see other people winning and getting things that you haven't, but it's put the blinders on. What have you done for yourself? What are you doing towards you? How is this winning for you? Okay, because other people, we don't need to look at them. They're doing things for different reasons. They may have different circumstances, different upbringings, more support, more resources, and different intentions. This is all about you for you. So focus on you. How are you improving? Look back to the last year. How have you changed? If you haven't changed, that's a sign that you need to start changing. If you're unhappy, unfulfilled, overweight, emotionally unhinged, and confused often and don't know how to make your own decisions, this is a change. If you have not done anything different from the last year, start doing something different. So the same time next year, you can look back and say, I was here, now I'm here. This is not expecting extreme changes. These are small, steady steps, okay? It's not going to change overnight. It's not going to change from year to year in a way that you're going to be able to, like, yes, you can look back and be like, I've changed. Wow, I no longer do that. But your bank account could still be similar. Your home could still look the same. You could still have no friends. But there are things within yourself that you're changing so that when you go out there and you make those changes, you have a steady foundation to base that on and build. Hope this helps. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content that helps support you in becoming your best version.